Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to the videos. Another paid request this time for the movie reviewer next door. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for a film called 222 from 2017, which I'd never heard of. Then watching the film, I realized why I never heard of, because I think the movie fucking sucks. I'm sorry, man. I know you mean well. It's just a lot of these movies I just not been a fan of. This is like a lame version of like the Source Code, Deja Vu, Groundhog Day, Edge of Tomorrow, where it's trying to be a bit of that. It's the same stuff happen over and over again, but not quite like Groundhog Day. It's a plot that makes very little sense. It has characters that aren't really that great of acting. A love story that doesn't really have much chemistry between the two leads, a thriller that really isn't that thrilling, and a plot that maybe has some interesting ideas at the beginning but really peters out as it goes along and becomes a rather dull, boring affair. That the movie may have some decent cinematography, but that's really what it is, because then it goes into plot details of a supernova and reincarnation and constellations and whatever the fuck else. Because it's about this air traffic controller, and it's going along his day, and at his job at 2:22 he starts seeing these visions of a gun and Grand Central Grand Central Station and constellations, and he's so out of it he then someone has to snap him out of it, get back to his job, and two planes narrowly miss each other. So of course he goes on leave, which makes sense. And then quickly thereafter, he meets one of the passengers of that plane, and they start a love story. Now, granted, I'm like, why does she like him, and vice versa? I guess you assume, spoiler alert, you come to find out that in 1986 there's this doomed love triangle that in the Grand Central Station, the guy protecting the girl, they both get killed by this third party who loved the girl. And so I guess because of some supernova that exploded so many years ago, and the constellations, they kind of form into the astrological sign of the characters, because each day these patterns happen where at this certain amount of time a water drips on the lead guy, at this certain amount of time a fly dies, at this certain amount of time there's a car accident, at this amount of time he sees a pregnant person. Now the water may drip from a different location each day, or the fly might be dead in a different place, or it'll be a different pregnant woman and it'll be a different car crash. So it's like Groundhog Day, but it's not Groundhog Day. It's still ongoing sequential events of this relationship with this girl and all this stuff, but similar things will happen each day because of whatever the fuck reason. That's the thing. It's like, so it's not Groundhog Day, it's not the same day over and over again. It's just similar events where it just so happens there's a different pregnant woman, and then there's a different pregnant woman the next day, and there's a different pregnant woman the next day. And the water drips from here. And if he's on the roof, it's the same spot. It's not the same spot, but it's the same time the next day, and the water drips there. There's a bit where, okay, at this time a fly will be dead. He closes a book, he opens it, and there's a dead fly in it. And I'm like, there's like no fucking rules to this. There's no, it's just like, whatever the fuck happens, happens. Deal with it. Tough titty. Suck on the titty if you don't like it. And because there's no rules, then there's not really not much sense of thrill or danger or evolution of the plot because of that. It doesn't, you know a movie's in trouble when you look at the credits and there's 13 fucking executive producers. Not one, not 2, not 12, 13 goddamn executive producers. That means there's 13 people with their hands in the cookie jar, 13 people that get their point of view in, do this, do this, do this, and apparently this was delayed for a few years, and I fucking wonder why. Because it's either the character's trying to get, like I said, perhaps it could be interesting, the idea of, well, that's strange. Each day I wake up, even though I go about my day and it's a different day, but I still get a water dripping on me. I still see a pregnant woman at this time, but it's a different person, but still a pregnant woman. I still hear laughing, but it's from a different person. But at this same time, I hear someone laughing. At the same time, I see a construction worker, maybe a different worker, but I still hear construction at this point. But what it adds up to really isn't that exciting or engaging. It doesn't help that the two leads, I think, have a lack of chemistry with each other, so the romance falls flat. Okay, you want to see a movie that deals with crazy shenanigans and has emotional core, go watch Frequency with Dennis Quaid, Jim Caviezel. That's a film that deals with some crazy astrological event that makes this crazy thing happen where a guy can talk to his dad 30 or so years apart via this radio. But that's a plot that just did pull you in. Interesting concept. Maybe you don't know how all the story, the reasons why it's happening logically, but you take to that leap of faith because it gives you an engaging story. We get some really fantastic acting performances. You get this murder mystery happening where at first you're saving the dad, but then there's something going on with a murder mystery and how this back and forth happens where, hey, put something underneath this cupboard. And then he looks and it's there. And then Dennis Quaid's like, you got it? Wow. There's more chemistry between two people that mostly talk through a fucking radio than these two leads having a romance with each other. So while Frequency, its plot really engages you and keeps you going throughout the rest of the film, pulls you in to see what's going to happen next, this feels like just spin his fucking wheels. The guy trying to figure this out, say the stuff happened each day. This guy who lights this other guy who owns this art exhibit, this art gallery, just lights the girl, and then the way he kind of just changes his mind and goes psycho kind of just seems, it felt out of the blue to me. It felt like it just has to happen because the plot tells us to. And the art exhibit felt, is an interesting visual, but it felt really sci-fi. It felt like I was on the fucking hologram bit in Star Trek The Next Generation. The holodeck. But it's this art exhibit, but then you just see like a 3D realm of like city and the visions, and the lead guy's there and he sees the vision of the Grand Central Station. So he gets pissed at the art exhibit guy because he's freaked out, because he's tired of seeing this, but then he leaves and he texts and apologizes to the girl, I'm sorry for that. Why the girl is in love with this guy, other than I guess it's supposed to be fate. But in this case, you need a bit more than that. And really just spinning his wheels of this repeated pattern happening and him trying to figure out, and it's like on TV, oh, there's a supernova, and then he's looking over to these drawings, and then he sees these constellations, and I guess because of the constellations, this happened at this point, and this happened at this point. I just, but does this happen with every fucking person in the world, or just with those 3 points at this fucking time, and maybe their ass was up with hat? I don't fucking know, man. I don't care. Because it wasn't. It's not meant to be funny. So it's not a comedy. It wasn't thrilling. The story I didn't give a rat's ass about. The characters I didn't give a rat's ass about. And the stuff, I'm like, why don't I just go watch The Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal, Deja Vu with Denzel, Groundhog Day, or hell, Frequency, or various other fucking better sci-fi movies than this. Spoiler, you get to the end, it's Grand Central Station, and the girl's with her art exhibit buddy, and he's crazy now, and I don't buy his turn of being crazy. Just, I know they try to build it, but it still felt out of the fucking blue. He pulls a gun, everybody's running, the lead guy's there. Now, the bad guy is here. The lead guy is here. The girl's over here. Does the guy try to tackle this guy who's got the gun on her? No. He decides instead to run all the way to the girl. Well, imagine, you're standing, and the guy's over... Okay, you're standing here. The bad guy's over here. He's aiming over there. And the other girl's like over here. Wouldn't you... If the guy is over here, now look at you aiming a gun, just run over and tackle the guy. Instead, no, he decides to jog over to here. And even though he got shot, and he gets shot, I guess, in the back, but then he turns, I guess it went through. Do you see the blood coming from the front? And then he's kind of standing there hurt, and the bad guy's got the gun on him, and the cops have the guns on them. So they open fire. Thank God none of those bullets went through and hit the couple. Because it's like, here's the couple, here's the bad guy, and then the cops have all their guns towards this. And then they fire. I'm glad now one of those bullets went through the guy and hit our couple. Oh shit, the bad guy's here, and we're here, and the cops are here. How do I put it? The couple, the bad guy, and then like, all the cops are here. Pew, pew, pew. It must be crack shots, or thankfully none of the bullets went through. Whatever. So the guy lives, the couple live happily ever after, and again, there's some cinematography visuals that are not too shabby, like the art exhibit, how it showcases some of the 3D realm of the city. Some of the ways the constellations are, like the first time he sees them, and how he kind of sees them amongst the air controller, the air traffic controller room. Other than that, like, there's really not much merit to this to me. It's a plot that really isn't that thought out, makes very little sense. It's a story that's not that engaging, doesn't pull you in, isn't interesting. Chemistry of the leads are very lacking. Overall, just go watch Frequency and Groundhog Day back to back instead of this. This film fucking sucks. If you love it, to your own. No wonder it has 13 executive producers on it. Not fucking surprised after watching it. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.